But
it turns on that.
Oh,
I might have. Thank you. Bracing my hand here, it gives me a little more stability. And also, if you have a bump you can't get rid of, go uphill, go with the sander. Instead of coming down into it, you're just going to make it worse. Get into it, hold it, and bring it into it. You got a little better control that way. Thought I was spraying, didn't you? Sometimes you have to over the woodworking. This is a bit coarse yet, but you can pass this around. This is very close, and you can take I like a 4-inch pad sander, orbital random sander, and if you use a round one, it removes a lot of material, and you don't have very good control over it. The padded one, you can even put your sandpaper up the side, off the block, and then that way you can sand into the curves without tearing up your pad. But if you take a 4-inch sander on this in about 3 to 4 minutes, that's going to be a spatula that you can sell, and that's a $45 spatula. Those are carved ones. That's pretty quick, pretty easy, and that's use 5/4 or 6/4 material depending on how much sweep you want. I've got some around that I use just a 1/2-inch piece, and you have to be really. Let me see if I can find that one. Yeah, I'll pass that around too. I just had a piece of 1/2-inch scrap. I build a lot of boxes, so I just had some scrap left over. And this is a little 1/2-inch one. It actually has its place. A lot of people like that curved with the paddle on the end. Some people like this one's actually a double curve that Robert Downs, I don't know how many people know Robert Downs, a friend of mine, and we worked together at Hardwoods. He suggested, well, let's do a double. I said, yeah, let's do one. So we did double clamped it, and we're going to make some jigs where we put that in. Not everybody is going to want to have a double sweep on here. The benefit of having just one sweep versus a double sweep is if you're cooking or frying, you know, and you have grease, you're actually up and out. With the double sweep, you're back elongated. You might as well have one that has less of a sweep. Instead of 2 days in the jig, I took this one out in 1 day. And you can see the difference in it, what one more day would do. But if you use this one versus this one, you're still about the same angle, but you put yourself through a lot of work, but it looks cool. So I'll pass. This is just not very much, it didn't hold the bend very well because I took it out very early. And the double sweep, and then the standard sweep.
Took it out of the steam bed, or the...
I took it out of the jig. I bent this one while you guys were at break, and I took it out in a day, and it had, you know, it spring back. There's no air ventilation on this. There's no holes. If you drilled holes, it would probably it would show in the face. So there's no real way to dry this. It's not a hollow box. You can't get air in there. So it needs to set through and through for 2 days. I say 2 days in a controlled environment, you know, air conditioning, heat, whatever. That way you get a good set. And I've run them through the dishwasher and they hold their set pretty good. Not all dishwashers are created equally though. Some have steam in them, and you know, if you steam them, they're probably going to relax. So just keep that in mind. I hand wash them, and I like mineral oil. When you put mineral oil on them, it's a pure, you know, pure preservative. It'll preserve the wood. It's food safe. It's pure. That's pretty good. Extra virgin olive oil is not all created equally either. Just because it says extra virgin olive oil, unless it's certified, people are putting soybean oil in it. And that's, I think hopefully there'll be some legislation about that, because people are trying to be healthy and they're buying extra virgin olive oil and they're getting 70% of it being soybean oil, which is not good for you trying to eliminate cholesterol or whatever you're trying to do. But anyway, I think that, you know, we just need truth in marketing.
That would have to be the label though, wouldn't it?
It does not. No. Not good. This is the one I'll pass this around. This is the one I did out of 1/2 inch. I was just messing around, and I just didn't want to lose the piece of wood, and I cut a little bit of a sweep into it. But to make the spatulas, we're going to start out with just a piece. These are the flips. You need, this is 3/16 makes a good one. It needs to be consistent. If you've got a sander or got a buddy that's got a sander, make them all consistent. Vertical grain material looks good. It stays stable. It holds the finish a little bit better, I think. But we're going to take this flip, trace the pattern, trace it, cut out on the bandsaw just like we did, and we're going to end up with these. I'd say pre-form them if you can before you bend them. Go ahead and sand it, get it lined up. I have some that I didn't, and I can make this just in a minute, but if you do it in this, it's a lot easier to do rather than once it's bent. Yes, ma'am?
I have a question. You know, combining the bending and the thick stock shaping.
Yes.
Can you cut something on your bandsaw with the thick stock on, you know, left on, and then maybe not bend it, but make it into really thin at the end, and then steam it, and then bend it?
Absolutely. A lot of the
and then carve the
yes, a lot of the, if you look at walking canes are unique, and all of us are getting a little bit older, and we're all going to need one. Make them, give them away to the soldiers that come back. Give them away to your aunt, uncle, grandmother, whatever, or your buddy that needs one. Walking canes are fun, but you look at walking canes a lot of times, and they are round or square coming up. Then they're reduced where the handle is. It gives you a flat surface on your hand. Also, it takes away the time that you have to drive the temperature into it, because it needs an hour for each inch of thickness to be at temperature. So you reduce your cooking time, and you're going to make it flat anyway for your hand. But yes.
Does that mess up the fibers at all for thin
No,
section?
you may get some tear out, but you're going to oversize them, and then you're going to sand them down. And if you can bend it with the quarter sawn way, with the grains vertically this way, and you're making the bend like this, you can bend the fibers better that way. Whereas if it were flat, you may cut into the growth rings and it will pop loose. So,
Does it take a lot of effort to bend it?
Yes.
It does, yeah.
Yes. I've done a Windsor chair, and it was in 2000. It was after my automobile accident, and yeah, that took a lot. You need to really drive a lot of temperature into it, but still you need a buddy to help you get it situated. And even some of the larger boxes, I've got shoulder trouble, I've got some back problems. Even the larger boxes, you've got to really get. It's all core and chest pressure, and you need to be strong. So yes, it takes a lot. But once we get these cut, I mean, you can bend it just in rough form. I was in a hurry. I made a bunch of these, but we're going to sand to the line, whether it's here or in this form. And just like the shaker boxes, it's a spatula. If it's not, perfect to the line, who cares? It's a spatula. I kind of do it quick. I've just done so many of them. So even if you bend it without the exact definement, I mean, it takes a minute to sand them once you get going. I'm going to sand this smooth on both sides. We'll talk about jig making in a minute. If you have any inaccuracies in your jig, it needs to be on the smiley face side. It needs to be on the back side of the jig, not this side. This side will show any imperfection in the jig. So if you can sand that side, this side needs to be smooth. Back side you're gonna shape anyway, but it's hard to shape that inside contour. Excuse me.